was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
The demons, more commonly known as Pinkies, are hell-born, bull-looking creatures that weren't given much lore in the original games, other than they look like shaved gorillas and are among the most frequently encountered enemies.
Buddha, you fucking pinky piece of shit!
In the Doom Bible, it was originally called the Demon Sergeant. In the game manual, it's listed simply as Demon, but it was nicknamed Pinky by the developers due to its skin color. They stand approximately 6 feet tall, the same height as the old Doom guy, which, think about it, how terrifying it would be to see a horde of these, well, massive pink cows on 2 legs that are charging and surrounding you to then try to play with you by biting and tearing your arms and legs off. They also have a variant with translucent skin named the Spectres. Not fully invisible, you can still see it relatively clearly, but in dark areas or while running around, it becomes harder to distinguish. It's intriguing because they're the only demons in Doom 1 and 2 with translucent skin. The only other object with invisibility properties is the Blur Sphere, which grants the player partial invisibility for a limited time. You're not completely invisible, but enemies struggle to aim accurately while it's active. Interestingly, the only other invisible enemy we see in the classic series is the Nightmare Imp in Doom 64, which is also just a tiny bit translucent. So, looking at the Pinky and the Sphere, it always made me wonder if there's a connection between the two. Were the translucent Pinkies influenced by the Blur Sphere, or is the Sphere itself created from something related to them? The first Doom RPG introduced the Bull Demon and Belphegor. The Bull Demon is a weaker version of the Pinky, while the Belphegor serves as the Spectre. The second Doom RPG added a charge ability to the Pinky. And remember, this was back in 2009, long before Doom 2016 came out. It also introduced a new enemy that, while not a Pinky itself, is directly related to them. The Pinky-nator. A massive mound of flesh that spawns Pinkies and, when destroyed, leaves behind Pinky embryos. Only one is encountered, but we can assume there are more of them and that these are what allow Pinkies to be created in such massive quantities. We now move to Doom 64, and here the Pinkies are now called Bull Demon, are pretty much the same, but larger and arguably more intimidating. Their change in look is mostly due to them being revived by the Mother Demon. The corpses of previously killed demons were mutated and remade into corrupt living tissue. The big difference comes with the Spectre. Oh shit. Yeah, those are now way harder to see. Doom 3. Okay, you might find the game slow, too dark, or dislike the lack of ability to hold a gun and the flashlight at the same time. But I think we can all agree that this is the best Pinky, or even Demon, introduction in any Doom game. This is the kind of moments that make you wish you could forget that moment just to experience it again for the first time.
Okay. Okay.
The Pinky returned with major physical changes. This is also when we begin to see that there may be different species of similar demons. It now has no eyes, and instead of horns, it has small tusks on either side of his mouth. One fascinating, yet fucked up detail is that a newborn demon's face is initially buried under thick folds of flesh, and the creature must consume itself in order to breathe and eat. We also see that this time, the Pinky's back half is removed and replaced with cybernetic legs, with its other half being found in hell, attached to the ceiling. Wait, but why is the Pinky's other half attached to the ceiling in hell? Looking at what we know from Doom 1 to Doom 64, the explanation is simple. Demons need to eat. Well, we assume they need to. And what are the most commonly seen demons in hell? The imps and the Pinkies. Sadly, for the Pinky, is without a doubt got the most meat, and thanks to the Pinkinator, can be spawned in large numbers. It's therefore not hard to imagine that Pinkies could be used as livestock in hell, livestock that can also fight if required. I guess any demon could be eaten depending on the availability, but between a spiky imp, possibly filled with burning plasma, and a thick, muscular Pinky packed with meat, the choice isn't hard, right? While this Pinky has a very violent way of attacking, I think the Doom movie actually did an amazing job showing how an encounter with the Pinky would really play out. The 2016 Pinky was brought back with a more classic look, though its design and behavior were updated. Its face is now covered by a thick cortical bone plate, which it uses as a battering ram. This lets the demon charge and slam into targets while also making it highly resistant to frontal attacks, forcing people to flank it from behind where it has no such protection. It's also noted that Pinkies have limited visual perception and rely mostly on pheromone detection to find enemies. Now, the Pinkies being food theory is fully supported by UAC observations. They recorded gnawed Pinky carcasses pulled from hell portals, suggesting they're considered a delicacy for demons. And most likely Doom Guy, who I'm sure had to feed himself during his visit in hell. Doom Eternal added more tactical use to the Pinky, which slightly changes how we view Hell's approach to battle. Before, the only tactic we saw Hell using was open a portal, vomit out as many demons as possible, and kill everything. You must admit, it almost always worked if it weren't for this asshole showing up to save the day. But now, we have reports that during the Hell invasion of Earth, Pinkies were specifically deployed to break through Ark military defenses, allowing more demon troops to pour in behind them. This forced the Ark to prioritize Pinkies and use long-range bombardment to stop them before they got too close. That's something Hell has as an advantage. They don't care about losing units. Humans, as soldiers, still have a sense of self-preservation. But demons? If they're ordered to run straight into certain death while killing as much as possible on the way, they'll roar and Leroy Jenkins into it without hesitation. We're now looking at the Dark Ages, and each new Doom game seems to treat the Pinky worse than the last. Now, not only is it used as food for other demons, but it also serves as a mount. Well, not exactly the Pinky we know from previous games, though I must say, it would have been awesome to see a regular Pinky used as a mount by zombies. What we're shown instead is a new breed, far bigger than both the original Pinky and the Doom 3 version. Its kind looks like a mix between the two games, now with a long spiked tail and horns that have grown to just massive proportions. These creatures come from the hellfire pits of the Umbral Plains, a region of Argent d'Anur that was pulled entirely into hell after the Argenta Civil War. It was once located near one of the planet's poles and had an Arctic climate. Now, I'm starting to think these pinkies, while they might be considered another breed, could also be what a regular pinky eventually becomes. Those from other titles would be younger demons, and as it grows, its limbs and body stretch and it shifts from walking on two legs to moving on all fours. It becomes slower and either ends up used as a mount to get the most out of them or gets eaten. This would explain why this new version seems less ferocious than the classic Pinky, which I guess makes sense for something meant to be ridden. Trying to mount a rampaging Pinky while aiming a bow probably wouldn't end well for the rider. Some might wonder why we don't see this specific type of Pinky in other games. They're tough, have range support from archers on their backs, can carry banners that boost nearby demons, and are quick enough to be a serious threat. There are a few reasons given in the codex. First, they need to be in top shape to serve as mounts. If they're injured or slowed down, they're either abandoned or replaced. That's why they're often seen wearing heavy armor. Second, and probably the biggest reason, is their unpredictability. During battle, they've been seen turning on their own riders, ripping them apart mid-fight. I'm no military expert, but I'm pretty sure having your own mount eat your soldiers isn't ideal for any army.